reason, and two stepbrothers, half-wit and dim-wit. So that's what it is in the corporate world. We are very reluctant to use the common sense approach. We'll quickly move to the next slide. Now the next slide is about communication, which is again very important. Communication in Sanskrit, it means samvad, which literally means two-way communication. Communicating two ways, that there is a person who is sending a message, there is a person who is receiving the message. And the model that you see over there, that was proposed by Aristotle, and this is still remains true, no matter where we are, whether we have one-to-one communication or whether we have a personal communication or we are trying to communicate in a corporate setup. So there is a sender who sends the message, there is a listener who receives the message. Now, in communication, in leadership, in management, attentive listening is very important. And attentive listening, there are 5 things: that we pay attention to what is being said, we stay in the present, we build self-esteem of the person who's communicating with us. That's what Krishna did throughout that discourse, and you'll see that all different names have been used for Arjuna. Sometimes he's referred as Mahabahu, sometimes he's referred as Mahabali, sometimes he's referred as Parth, sometimes he's referred as Dhanurda. So he's trying to build his self-esteem. The whole of Gita is about trying to motivate someone who is actually psychologically depressed. He's acting as a psychologist who is trying to counsel a psychiatric patient. Now it is trying to reflect on the person who is trying to say something, and at the same time to acknowledge the message that is being sent from the sender. So these are the 5 things that are important. And listening, why active listening is important? Active listening has got very important play. We have got 2 ears and 1 mouth. So in that percentage, it is 66%. Listening is important. Again, there was a survey done by market experts, and they said that listening is 75% important in communication. There was another survey that was done by an organization in America, which was a creative center for learning, and they said that active listening is 80% important. Nelson Mandela, he has got a very good listening ability. He had acquired this listening ability from his father, who was the chief of a tribe. His father was, he adopted, Nelson Mandela was adopted. His father's name was Chief Jogin Taba. He was chief of a tribe. So Nelson Mandela had this habit of actually gathering all the leaders and listening to them first before answering and jumping into any of the solutions. He used to listen to each and every leader patiently, and then he used to arrive to conclusion. What we do is that without listening, we arrive to conclusion and we make a judgment and opinion of the person who is giving that information to us. Now, leadership communication tips. This is coming from chapter 16. This is coming from chapter 17 verse 15, and it is coming from chapter 13. It says that give people ownership and importance. That when you try to communicate with someone, try to uplift that person, try to make that person feel important, and give that person importance and ownership of what the message he's trying to convey. Second communication tip is do what you say and say what you do. It means that your action should confirm to what you say. It should not be other way around, that you say something and you do something. It says that what you say you should do, and what you do, that is what you should say. Think. Then the third point is think before you speak. Every word that you think, you should think it very carefully. It is that you need to choose your words carefully. It is not say what you choose. It is rather choose what you say. You get the point? Means you cannot just say anything. Say what you choose means it's your mouth and you say everything. That's not a good tip. It is you choose what you have to say. And that is what it is. Before you communicate, before you send that message, be careful. Think before you speak. And then fourth is talk less, say more. You don't have to talk a lot to convey a very important message. You can talk less, but still you can convey the message, and you can still convey the idea in a very concise manner, in a very expressive manner, which has got some worth, which has got some importance, which has got some gravity. Now there is a last one is be courteous, and there are 3 actual words. They are coming from chapter 16, and they are from sloka 1 to 3. It means arjana. It means being straightforward. Apaya Sunnam means devoid of any cunningness, and Madhavam means soft-spoken. It says that you have to be straightforward, don't be cunning, and at the same time be soft-spoken. These are the leadership communication tips. And I've got a small picture of Winston Churchill. He was a very good communicator, and at that time Adolf Hitler was also a good communicator, and he was able to get whole of Germany together and to wage a racial war, and whole of Germany and whole of the army, German army and Allied, they united to get rid of Jews. And Adolf Hitler, he had this theory that only Aryans have got the right to live in this world, and that's the reason he had this swastika, and he said that all those who are non-Aryans, they need to die. And that's where he killed millions and millions of people over there. And Winston Churchill was a prime minister of UK, and he was a prime minister from 1940 to 1945, and from 1951 to 1955. 1951 to 1955. And sometimes I wonder that you need adverse situation to excel. So excel in science in adversity. I don't think without Adolf Hitler, Winston Churchill would be so famous and renowned, and some great, considered as a great leader in the history of humanity. But he was there. So when he became Prime Minister of UK, and he was asked, see the dedication and commitment of that politician, and you can compare with the politicians that we have nowadays. He was giving his first speech, and he was trying to say that I'm ready and we need to fight the war with Germans. And he was giving his first speech in the Parliament, and the House of Commons, they asked a question that, what have you got to offer? Now you, Mr. Prime Minister, what have you got to offer? And he said, I have got to offer my blood. I have got to offer my sweat. I have got to offer my work. I have got to offer my labor. That is what I have got to offer. Then he said, what is your policy? And he said, policy is to wage war by land, wage war by sea, wage war by air. That is my policy. And then the last question was, that was his speech, which is very famous speech. And the last question was, what is your aim? And that's where the sign comes from, victory. He said, my only aim is to win. Win, 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 victory at any cost. Victory at any life cost. Victory at any point. So that's what his aim is. That's what the communication over here means. That is the mark of a leader, to be a good communicator.